Hello, and welcome to my classroom tour. This classroom tour will showcase student work samples and bulletin boards throughout my student teaching experience. I think that both student work and bulletin boards are extremely important within the classroom environment because they allow for students to embrace their creativity and allows for students to be proud of the work that they have completed that is presented either upon a bulletin board or in the classroom setting. This first slide showcases a bulletin board that I created in my second grade teaching placement. After learning about President's Day and the importance of it, the students were able to pretend as if they were a president through a writing prompt. My second graders explained all the different rules, regulations, and ways that they would make a good president and the country a better place within a writing prompt. The students were able to choose between a beard to represent Abraham Lincoln and a hat with curls to represent George Washington, which is showcased in their presidential portrait. This allowed for the students to not only showcase their creativity, but to showcase their knowledge and their writing skills as well. Next, you will see a rainbow writing spelling worksheet that I created for my second grade students. My students were to roll a dice, and based upon the dice and the color that matched it, they would write their spelling words from their spelling list. As you can see in picture 2, I was able to differentiate this activity by providing 2 different sets of dice. One for students who have trouble counting on a dice that shows the regular number as a whole, and one dice that is just a simple regular dice. On this slide, you are able to observe a multiple of different work samples for my second grade students. On the left, I have a ghost spelling sheet where the students were allowed to choose their own color and write their spelling word in white crayon and cover over top with a marker to reveal their spelling word. This was a fun way for the students to practice writing on a line and their spelling words. The second picture represents the students creating shirts for the 102nd day of school. The idea behind the shirts was for the students to figure out a math problem that would equal 102, and they would be able to design their shirts to have 102 spots based upon their math equation. Once their shirts were dry, we celebrated the 102nd day of school wearing them. On the third picture, this is an example of 2 students in their partner work. They had to separate their spelling words by pattern. Here, you will see various works of art created by students in my 4th grade teaching placement. The students read a story called Just Like Me by Harriet Romer. The students were able to learn about the copious ways of creating self-portraits and had to create an autobiography that went along with the self-portrait in which they created. On this slide, you will see several pictures of PSAs, public service announcements, that my students created. After learning about the rain shadow effect in the Southwest region and the importance of conserving water, the students had to create a public service announcement that was geared toward the importance of conserving water. The students were able to use the app called iMovie on iPads and in groups to create a public service announcement that was presented to each group in the class. The students were able to use an app and showcase their creativity. This project was one of my favorites because it really allowed for the students to step out of their comfort zones and showcase their public speaking abilities, technology practices, and also touch base upon the social studies concepts in which we were learning. This slide shows multiple student work samples of past, present, and future tense verbs. The students were allowed to choose whichever verb that they wanted and present the 3 different verb tenses of that verb through a sentence and a picture. For the last example of 4th grade student work, you will see oil murals. After learning about the Southwest region and the natural resources that are located within this region, crude oil being one of the main natural resources, the students worked in groups to create an oil mural that showcased all the different ways and everyday items that they use that have crude oil in them in order to gain a more realistic understanding of how impactful and important crude oil is in everyday lives. Finally, you will see anchor charts in which I have created in 4th grade. These 2 charts were focused around the different forms of verbs. The first chart focused upon present tense verbs and how to use and write present tense verbs. The second anchor chart that I have on this slide is based upon irregular verbs and the importance of those as well. Anchor charts are beneficial because they serve as a guide to help students remember the rules of grammar and to guide them through instruction throughout the lessons. These anchor charts are posted throughout the room and are available for the students to look back upon if they ever get stuck in reading, writing, or speaking. As you can see, student work samples and bulletin boards are very important to have within a school environment. Student work is not always just pencil to paper. Throughout my student teaching placement, I have learned a variety of different ways to implement content and have students create student work, whether that be through activities, writings, drawings, and technology. I think that a variety of different projects and assignments are important in order to meet all different learners' needs and to have students present the information that they've learned in a different, more creative, fun, yet educational way. Thank you.